Welcome back to Business Focus. We're live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. Now, in November last year, that's 2021, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia said plans were far advanced to set the Ghana card as an electronic passport, e-passport. Now, this is said that all things being equal, the e-passport function of the Ghana card should be on stream after the first quarter of 2022, which is by end of next month, March. Take a listen to him.
By the end of the first quarter next year, the Ghana card will be recognized globally as an e-passport and can be read and verified in all ICAO compliant.
Okay, so this was in November 2021, what you just saw the Vice President talk about. Fast forward February 9, last week, at a ceremony held at the headquarters of the International Civil Aviation Authority, that's organization, ICAO, in Montreal, in Canada, Ghana was officially presented with the certificate to make the Ghana card an e-passport. That's what you see on the screen there, to be accepted at 44,000 airports across the globe. You see Professor Kenneth Tefa, the Executive Secretary of the National Identification Authority, and a few others who were there. And also Ghana's High Commissioner to Canada, Ransford Soa. They received what has been described as the key to symbolically indicate that Ghana's entry into the ICAO family. Now, after this ceremony, ICAO issued a few tweets responding to what they describe as media publications, which has raised questions about the kind of communication this Ghana card as e-passport, brought up. I want to take a look at one of these. This is one of 4 tweets in the thread that ICAO put out. It says, and I read, ICAO is aware of recent and incorrect media reports claiming that ICAO has agreed that the Ghanaian ID card is equivalent to an e-passport. However, it is not ICAO's role to certify the use of state's identity card for international travel in place of a passport. Now, we'll run through the 4 as we go on in the conversation, but is this an issue of misunderstanding or misinformation? Augustine Blay is an IT expert, first of all, but most importantly, is the Executive Secretary and Chief of Staff to the Vice President, who has been leading this. And in fact, in the Vice President's office, he has the direct mandate to ensure that this e-passport comes to fruition. He's with me in the studio. Mr. Blay, good evening to you. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm well. Happy chocolate day.
I haven't had any chocolate, unfortunately.
I like a red tie.
It's just to mark the occasion.
Oh, excellent.
But so, just for the purposes of those who are being initiated into the conversation, that's why I set this platform or this foundation which you're going to build on. Is the Ghana card e-passport compliant based on what we have seen over the period and these new developments? Mr. Blake.
Thank you very much. I think we have to set the foundation right before we build upon this to have this conversation. There are 4 main areas that we need to address. Then we can use the Ghana card and tell the story of how Ghana card meets all these 4 areas. The first one is the concept of a national identity card. That's the first one, national identity card. The second one is the notion of a travel document, right? Who publishes a travel document? How can a document become a travel document?
Right.
The third one is about the concept of e-passport. What is an e-passport? And then the fourth is the e-visa. So the event at ICAO on the 9th of February kind of generated a conversation around these thematic areas. So I'm going to try to explain. But I'm Christian religious. I think it's easier to use an example in the Bible to ground my argument.
That's
the example is the issue of Isaac, old, blind. He has 2 children, Jacob and Esau. Isaac is about to bless his son before he dies. Jacob hears about it. He goes to his blind father and says, "Dad, I am Esau." Right? And so the father's like, yes, you say you are Esau, but your voice sounds like Jacob, right? He said, yes, I'm Esau, bless me. So right there, Jacob identified himself as Esau. The father had a question. He had to verify whether this person in front of him is really Esau. So he bring him close, touches his hand, and finds that around his hand he has a lot of hair. But Jacob had put fake hair of an animal around his head. So the father's like, yes, you are hairy just like your brother. So that's you. Then the father blesses him. See, but what was missing is that checking the authenticity of the hair. Jacob has come to his father with an identification that looks like Esau. The father looked at it, but he could not authenticate. So a genuine, true, secure identity framework must include first the identification of the person, second the ability to verify, the father verifying whether Jacob is really Esau. Then the third is to authenticate or confirm the authenticity of the document that was issued. These are the three phases.
Right.
Every ID card in this global economy, as we are looking, the world has become more digital, with e-commerce all over the place. It's very important to understand that e-fraud is it's all over the place. So an identity card must be able to identify, be able to verify, and then also authenticate the authenticity of the document. Now, what Ghana card did in order to meet this mandate, remember it's the law. We tried this in 1973, we couldn't do it. We tried in 1987, we couldn't do it. In 2001, when the National Economic Dialogue Committee was set up to discuss this, the conclusion was that it is imperative that every Ghanaian have a Ghana card. Yeah. They were in 2001. Fast forward to 2017, the president, His Excellency Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo comes in, wins the election, becomes the president, and says the Ghana card is a mandate. The vice president must lead the charge and get it done. As we speak that within 4 years, what we could not do since 1973, we have about 16 million Ghanaians now with the identity card. This is the identification piece. We know who you are, we have your picture, you have your information. Now we have to have the ability to verify. To verify this card, now you have to have some security features on it. The plastic, the logos, the hologram, and the designs, all this have to be on there for someone to verify. Now, not only that, there must be a way to authenticate or to confirm the authenticity of this document, because a very savvy IT person can generate this nicely designed card and show it to you and say, hey, look, this is me.
Yes.
Right? And then you look at it and say, yeah, that's fine, that is you. But remember the story about Jacob and Esau.
Okay.
Because Isaac wasn't able to authenticate. Now, what Ghana, the NIA did was to ensure that we have a central server authority to authenticate every Ghana card that is issued, to check whether the document that is in front of you was really issued by the NIA and the Ghanaian authorities. This is to ensure that our identity cards, the identity of every Ghanaian, is immutable.
So these three levels that you talk about, they identify, verify, and authenticate.
Yes.
This Ghana card, this is mine.
Yes.
Has gone through these three phases.
Yes.
So as to meet this global standards of certification,
yes,
or compliance,
yes,
as an e-passport.
Yeah. Well, so I'm getting there now. So now the authentication comes in to have now the ICAO server, the central server around the world. They have the mandate to then regulate travel document, set the standard for travel document,
okay,
regulate and set the standard for airport around the world, regulate and set the standard for pilot around the world, for plane maintenance around the world, for airport safety around the world. ICAO is an UN organization. Ghana is a member of ICAO. We have a representative there, and she was at a meeting on the 9th of February.
This is the International Civil Aviation Organization.
That's correct. So they have the central server authority in there. That Ghana went there on the 9th of February, give them our public key so they can put it in their central server authority. So that everywhere around the world, when you want to authenticate what Isaac couldn't do for Jacob, when you want to authenticate this document, that the identity in there is immutable. The person holding it is none but the person who this card was issued to.
Okay, so the ceremony that we just saw, I showed you pictures of. Let's see that on the screen. In this is Montreal, Canada.
Yes.
The certificate that was issued, and then the key that was handed. Does that mean that, look, Kenatefua and the others there, we handed our database, yes, to ICAO, okay, to infuse into their system?
Okay.
So that anybody with the Ghana card, when the person gets to any of the 44,000 airports, can be recognized because your information is in the ICAO database?
Okay. So, again, I talk about the 4 thematic areas.
Right.
I'm just focused on the ID here, the identification, verification, and authenticity, checking the authenticity of it. Now, what that means is that the information on the card,
Okay.
to ensure that the card is verifiable and secure. Remember, anyone can, we have the driver's license, we have the voter ID as an ID card, we have different types of ID. None of them meet a certain standard. To make sure that your identity is accepted around the world, there's certain standard you have to meet. So one of them is putting the biometric information on there. Right after the Second World War, before that, most ID cards didn't have photo ID and photo on there. In order to enhance the security around your document, they started putting photos on there. Now, as you speak, in the 21st century, they started putting biometric information on there. Beyond that, to increase the security as technology advances, now we are talking about putting a chip on the card, a chip on there to ensure the security. And a chip is just like a SIM card. Every Ghanaian today that has a Ghana card, if he or she can look into it, will see that there's a chip embedded in the card. That chip must meet a standard. You can't just put any other chip, because some chips are not secure. The space requirement to store information on there is very specified. The structure of the data that has to be stored on there is specified. The processing power that is on there to process information is very specified. The security framework around it to prevent cyber attack is on there. The security to ensure that only qualified and authorized machines, as the Vice President talked about, ICAO compliant machines, ICAO machines that have complied with the ICAO standards are the ones that can then read that. That is to ensure the security and the privacy of the person holding this information.
I see.
Those standards are defined by ICAO, saying that every e-passport, now an e-passport is not a document, it's not a paper, it's not a book. The e-passport is the chip that is embedded in the document.
That's this chip.
That is the chip.
Okay.
So every chip that meets the ICAO standard of e-passport then meets that standard of the e-passport. So if you take a booklet passport today, as Ghana has it, Ghana has a biometric passport. To get it, you get the biometric information on there, and then it has a machine-readable zone. It has, like this card has a machine-readable zone right here. But this is not chip. It's not e-passport.
Okay.
You can swap it and we'll read. It's not secure enough. Now, what they do is that now take the chip, put the information on there, and when you take that chip and then embed that into a passport, because the chip is an e-passport, then that passport becomes an e-passport because the chip is on there.
Okay.
The presence of the ICAO compliant chip per the e-passport standards is what makes any document an e-passport. So Ghana cards has the chip on there.
So it is just that the chip on the card now has met that ICAO standard.
Yes, for e-passport.
So has the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority or the NIA sent data of all the 16 million Ghanaians who have this?
Yes.
Who possess the Ghana card to all the 44,000 airports across the world?
That's not how it works. It's a very, very good question. The way it works is that to read, just like phone call, right? Every country has a code. Ghana code is 233. Ivory Coast is 225. Togo, I believe, is 255. US is 1. UK is 44. Each country has a code. So when you make a phone call and you put first the code number in there and your phone number, it will route your call to the right channel to the person you're calling. Now, Ghana's architecture around this security is that the database resides in Ghana. The certificate authority that encrypt the information stored on your card resides in NITA. NITA holds it. The NITA then has that connection with ICAO. So that NITA Ghana has given our public key, the key that can allow any machine to then come and decrypt our information and check whether the information is there.
Has that process started?
That process is done and established.
It's done and established.
Yes.
I ask this because of that letter from the Ghana Airports Company Limited to the airlines that starting March 1, following the key ceremony that you referred to at the headquarters, now the Ghana card is now duly recognized globally. And as a result, any Ghanaian coming into Ghana should be allowed on their
planes.
aircraft to Ghana.
Yes.
With the Ghana card.
Yes.
That's what I asked about. So now that this has happened, that process of allowing the 44,000 airports access to our
check
database
our data, yes,
has been completed.
Yes, that's what we did on the 9th of. That's what they call the key ceremony. Is that the public key, the e-key, the electronic key that can allow any ICAO compliant machine to call into a server and say, look, I'm coming in, I am authorized, this is your key you gave me, can I check whether Augustine Blay has been issued this passport, this e-passport number 112, then it checks and they say, yes, it's been issued, or no, it has not been issued. They can go back and say, I want to check the biometric here, he's put his fingerprint on there, is it the right one? So that communication channel between the machine at the airports and the machine at the ICAO and the machine at NITA, that channel of communication is encrypted. And so not anyone can read it, not any machine can read it unless you are authorized and you have access to that public key. And that comes in, and then based on that conversation, it's encrypted.
And this is for Ghanaian holders of this Ghana card who are coming into the country. For
those that need to come in for a travel document, yes.
That is when this can be used as an e-passport.
Because the e-passport is because of the chip. Now, because our identity card, Ghana identity card now, has been proven to contain an immutable identity. You cannot have two identities with a Ghana card. So it's an accepted standard that now this card now, everywhere you place it, you present it, there's trust in it. Unlike before, other identity cards can easily be falsified, can have multiple IDs and all this stuff. This has been proven that no, you cannot. You can have that it's an immutable ID, it's kind of characteristic. With that said, now Ghana said, okay, let's talk about e-travel. The travel document. I've explained about identity. Yes. I've talked about the e-passport is the chip. Now we talk about travel document. A travel document is a document that allows you to move from one country to another, from one area to another. As you speak today, since 2020, your COVID vaccination card, your PCR test, your travel certificate have made a travel document. Without these documents, you cannot move from the US to Ghana, even as a Ghanaian. When you get to the airport, they will ask you, where's your PCR test? Where is your travel certificate? Where is your vaccination? If you don't have any and you have your passport, you have your Ghana card, you have all this, because Ghana said, because of the COVID environment, we are adding these travel documents as part of travel on your coming into the country. So the way to publish this new requirement out is up the sovereign state, Ghana, to publish to the world out there and say, we as Ghanaians have now accepted to add Ghana card as an accepted travel document because we have established the fact that our identity system is immutable. You out there around the world, trust it. You can check it. One person cannot have multiple, so there's no need to second guess a document issued by Ghana.
But they have the right to check it as well.
Yeah, just like any passport, you can, and that's why we're talking about every ICAO compliant equipment around the world. If you doubt it, swap it and see it.
As a country, in exercising our sovereignty, we define what travel document we will accept.
Yes.
And the ones that we have legitimized. That's why you're saying for Ghanaians out there, they can use the Ghana card and enter the country.
Yes. And that's what the ICAO tweeted to clarify that it's not up to them to issue that. It is up to
we're going to go to that tweet by ICAO, but it sets a number of fundamentals.
Yes.
So it doesn't mean that people watching us, because this is one of the reactions we got on Facebook, and people who, the kind of communication.
Yes.
And you see, you probably admit that the communication about this has been contextualized with a lot of politics, for which you can't take away because of the person who is leading this. That has led to a lot of misinformation and distortion of the valid information. So people then hook on to it and say, I don't need my biometric passport again, I'm going to throw it away. Besides this development, you still need your biometric passport, the leaflet. You need it.
You need it. So this then takes the next step. So we talk about ID, travel document, and e-passport. Now it's about the e-visa. Now, today, the standards for issuing visa, the format of the visa, is a stamp that you put in a passport, or a sticker that you stick in the passport,
Right.
or you print them. This is the standard today. ICAO is developing the standards for passport, for visa, e-visa, LDS, Logical Data Structure 2.0, that they will issue based on their timing. Okay. They actually have seen the framework, the structure, and all this stuff, subject to board approval, members adopting it. But once it's adopted, the standards say that they can then issue the e-visa and store it on the chip.
Which we are not at that point
We're not
yet.
at that point yet, but it's coming. So you are investing.
How long is this going to take?
Well, I'm saying it's subject to ICAO's timeline, so I can't speak to that.
Right.
But I know that they have issued the document soliciting feedback. The working group has set up the type of information that needs to be stored on the chip as far as visa is concerned, how it has to be stored and stuff like that. So when they get approval and it becomes an international standard, America or UK or Canada or any other country will say, we are going to comply with ICAO standard, henceforth we are going to issue a visa on the chip. So now when you're coming to Ghana, when you're coming to us to apply for a visa, bring your chip and they bring your e-passport. Then they will swap it and then they will put in the information, encrypt it and put it on there. When you get at the port of entry, they also swap it and say, well, you got a visa for 1 year, single entry. You can stay in this country for 14 days. You just put it and get stored on the chip. And then that's how all this travel history, travel transactions will occur, being done, read and stored on the chip.
I see. So essentially what you mean is that if you're traveling from Ghana to the US or the UK or Canada or, Australia, you still need the passport.
Yes.
The biometric passport, the booklet.
The booklet.
Because you need a visa stamp in there.
Yes.
So the Ghana card is not replacing the passport.
The Ghana card is not replacing passport. We as Ghanaians have established an identity system for Ghanaians. And in order to build our identity system, we've made it comply with standards nationally, internationally, and globally to ensure that our identity card, whenever it is presented, there's significant trust in that document in front of you. We've heard stories of how some identity cards have no value because the identity card is not immutable. But we have built that infrastructure and that process and that standard according to international best practices to ensure that there's 100% credibility in the security, the trust in the card that we have. And by doing so, we then have the extra benefit of allowing other countries to say, look, you can trust it. Let the people come in the country with faith. Because when they show it to you, they mean business. It's as true as a passport because it's made the e-passport requirement. And the airline and the other countries are saying, yeah, we will trust it. We will let people come through in your country. But when you're coming to my country from Ghana and outside, because of the visa limitation, you still have to stamp it in. Some other countries where we don't have visa requirement, for example, you're going to have to set up this multilateral, bilateral agreement with them and say, okay, my citizens come into your country, based on the process today, there has to be this legal framework that says, allow my citizens coming from Ghana to your country where visa is not required to come in. But this is a legal agreement that must be founded upon a technical document that all of them must trust.
Okay, so I want to show you the tweets from ICAO. This was after the key ceremony in Montreal, where just we showed you the picture with Professor Kenatefo and others in there. Then they say that they've been monitoring media reports after this ceremony to accept Ghana card, the chip in there, as now e-passport compliant. Yeah. Take a look at the first tweet from ICAO. This was sometime on Friday. The ceremony took place on Wednesday, and this came in on Friday. ICAO is aware of recent and incorrect media reports claiming that ICAO has agreed that the Ghanaian ID card, as a Ghana card, is equivalent to an e-passport.
Yes.
However, it is not ICAO's role to certify the use of a state's identity card for international travel in place of a passport.
Yes.
Now, the second tweet. It is the sovereign right of each individual state to decide upon its entry and exit requirements and the documents that need to be presented by those traveling to and or from its territory. The third tweet. Ghana's successful conclusion of its key ceremony on 9 February is a major milestone in its efforts to provide for more international acceptance of its electronic travel documents.
Correct.
The final one there. say a number of states worldwide accept specified national ID cards as identity documents during air travel based on bilateral agreement between issuing and receiving states.
Yes.
Any, and the any they put in inverted commas, just to put an emphasis on it, any decision to accept such alternative travel identity documents is made by the receiving state itself.
Correct.
This is a thread of tweets from ICAO.
Yes.
What does that say specifically with this thread of tweets we've seen and gone through now, and what you're talking about now?
And this is consistent with what I just explained to you. Ghana, as a country, understood since 1973 that each Ghanaian must have an ID card. Since then, we have not been able to do so. From 2017 to 2020, Ghana has been able to register 16 million Ghanaians under the leadership of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. That's established. Now, our identity card must be credible and acceptable around the world. So we have to comply with international standards so that it doesn't get thrown away like a white elephant. You have an ID card, but no one accepts it. So when we met those standards, we included putting the chip that meets the e-passport requirement. So we have that. ICAO then took our key for this chip and put that into their central server for validation of e-passport, e-travel document. Now,
because the chip had met those
the
specifications.
Standard, correct.
But then in the first tweet, and clarify this, in the first tweet, let's see the first tweet. The first tweet from ICAO talks about an incorrect media report. Claiming that ICAO has agreed that the Ghanaian card is equivalent to an e-passport.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The e-passport is not the card.
Okay.
There are a lot of reporting. The e-passport is not the card. What is the e-passport? It is the chip. That's what is needed on there. And so this chip, as we are talking, ICAO is stating what they define the standard.
Right.
The standard for e-passport has never been a card. The standard of e-passport has always been a chip that has made a requirement. So when somebody is reporting that a national ID card of a country is an e-passport, the person does not make reference to the technical specification of it being the chip that makes it enable. If you take that chip here and put it now in a passport, booklet passport, you have an e-passport because the chip is available. And ICAO is stating that. Now, we are telling you, which was why we had that event at ICAO, that this document has met the standard. Every ICAO compliant equipment can read it and validate because we've met how they want an e-passport defined and stated. Then we say we can travel with it. And they are saying they are not the ones to specify what a country can receive.
So the decision to use this as a travel document
is up to the country.
Is the sovereign state's prerogative.
Yes. And we, Ghana, just like I gave the example of the COVID vaccine and all of this, Ghana issued a statement out there to all the airlines saying to come to Ghana, we now need to have a COVID vaccine. Without it, you cannot come in. And so now Ghana has issued a statement out there and said, now we as Ghana can now accept the Ghana card as a travel document coming in. So every airport around the world should now allow Ghanaians holding the Ghana card to come through to Ghana.
I'm going to go for this quick break. I'll be back. There are a number of questions as well sent in by you, our viewers as well. And because this is an issue of national concern, which has benefits as outlined, so we would get clarity because it's important in this regard. Augustine Blay is an IT expert, but most importantly, the Executive Secretary, and also he is the Office of the Vice President, Chief of Staff, the Office of the Vice President, who is leading this Ghana card as an e-passport. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly. This is Business Focus. Yes, welcome back to Business Focus. We're live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. Ghana card, is it passport compliant? Is the conversation we've been having over the last 41 minutes. And a number of you have been sending us messages as well. We're live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. Augustine Blay, Executive Secretary and Chief of Staff at the Office of the Vice President, and he's an IT expert, as a matter of fact. That's what gives him the competence to speak about this, beyond the fact that it is his boss who is leading this e-passport drive. But Nanaya says, good evening. Within the ECOWAS sub-region, member countries travel to other countries without a visa. Guyana, for instance, has a visa-free arrangement with Ghana. You only need another form of identity. Is the Ghana card going to suffice for this process, for instance? This is a question from a viewer. Let's deal with that and move to other things.
So within the ECOWAS country,
I'm sorry.
ECOWAS protocol allow ECOWAS members to move freely within the sub-region, provided they have the identity that states the country they belong to, and then also that identity card meets the standard as stated in the ECOWAS identity protocol signed by Ghana in 2015. So today, moving within the ECOWAS countries, no problem. Ghana card is accepted. Now, when you're moving from Ghana outside, it's very important to understand because of the multilateral agreement with Ghana with all the ECOWAS countries. Now, when you're moving outside of Ghana to other countries, we need to establish those bilateral or multilateral agreements. So going to Guyana, for example, where we don't need a visa. So now the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will have to engage the Guyanese authorities to then have this agreement that when somebody comes into their country from Ghana with a Ghana card, they should then accept, and as that's ICAO stated, that it is within the sovereign right of every state to accept or reject what ID card they can accept in the country. So once the bilateral agreements established with these countries between Ghana and them, then we can then travel below. But today, as we speak, and the Vice President stated in November at Ashasi University, is that by this first quarter of 2022, Ghana card will be used as an identity card for Ghanaians all over the world to come into Ghana. It's also important that we have a large diaspora community out there. Ghanaians have gone out there who've worked hard as immigrants, become citizens of other countries, but still maintain their Ghanaian identity. When it comes time for them to come home and their passport has expired, for example, or their passport is lost, for example, or they don't even have a passport and they had to come to the country urgently, if they have the Ghana card today, they will not have to now go apply for a passport, then come into the country. They will just now show this Ghana card and be able to come in easily. So there's a large diaspora and Ghanaian diaspora community out there that this development, this additional benefit that the Ghana card has because of its compliance with all this international standard will go to meet their need and make life easier for them when they need to come to Ghana.
So, but for the sub-region, you will still not necessarily need a visa to come back into Ghana or even to travel into those countries.
Correct.
And then with Guyana and other countries that we have the visa-free,
we need to have this bilateral agreement telling them
with them.
To them, that's they should then accept.
That's the clarification that I think this person sending a message needs. So even though we have this arrangement with Guyana and some other countries to have a visa-free entry, you will still have to have some conversation with them about this new development
for them to accept the Ghana card in their country.
I see.
Yes.
So then Ines, to the next one. Emmanuel says, good evening. Says this conversation brings up a number of things, great development indeed, but I would also want to find out from your guests if I think this question has been answered, the Ghana Immigration Service data has been synchronized fully with the data of the 44,000 airports that are supposed to recognize and accept the Ghana card as the travel document.
Yes.
I think you touched on it.
Yeah, the data is not shared with them.
Earlier.
The data stores in Ghana, and then the key then allow them to communicate to our server, decrypt. Check.
Now, with this, I want to find out if there's this communication, about Ghana now having the Ghana card as the travel document, as a sovereign state. This is what we decided on. Who has to put out that communication? Is it the Ghana Airports Company Limited or the Foreign Affairs Ministry? Or in this case, it is the Interior Ministry, Ghana Immigration Service, all these agencies are involved in it.
Yeah, the Ghana Airport Company has issued the communication out there. They are the gatekeeper of issuing the communication to all the community out there. So the agency then issued a statement to Ghana Airport Company issued a statement to all the airline working in Ghana that Ghana card is not an accepted travel document. They then issued a communication to the airline association around the world that this is an accepted travel document coming to Ghana. They then issued a statement to IATA saying that Ghana has also is now accepting the Ghana card as a travel document. That is their internal standard operating procedures in communicating with the airline, communicating with the airport that Ghana now accepts the Ghana card as a travel document. And Ghana Airport Company has done that.
Okay, so I asked this based on the fact that questions have been raised about the communication coming from the Ghana Airports Company Limited and not, for instance, the Foreign Affairs Ministry.
The communication to the airline agencies and the airport is done through the channel of the Ghana Airport Company Limited. And they have done that. They have communicated with the airline agencies, the airport, and the IATA that Ghana now accept the Ghana card as a travel document. And the airlines are complying with that.
Okay. Have you seen this question raised about the authenticity of the Ghana Airport Company Limited's communication, that they didn't use their right letterhead as it's known for?
I can't speak to the right letterhead, but I know for a fact because I was copied in the conversation that Ghana Airport Company Limited has done those three communications, communicated with the airline companies, communicated with the International Association of Airport and Airlines, and also send the communication to the IATA that Ghana now accept the Ghana card as a travel document.
So anybody with a Ghana card now watching us anywhere in the world can come back to Ghana.
They've started coming back. Yesterday, some came back.
So the process has started.
Yes.
You have people who have come back into Ghana with just the Ghana card.
Yes.
I see.
Yes, from Netherlands and from UK yesterday.
Oh, I see. That's just also something worth noting.
Yes.
So this is already
It's
in
all
place.
going. Ghana is going to high places.
Mr. Augustine Blake, thank you.
Thank you very much
for your time.
No problem. No worries. My pleasure.
And Augustine Blake is the Executive Secretary to the Vice President. He is also the Chief of Staff at the Office of the Vice President. He's an IT expert leading this e-passport conversation on behalf of his boss. My name is Alfredo Kanse. Keep your questions coming in because this is an ongoing conversation that we intend to make sure that all the questions you have are addressed. Have a good evening. This has been Business Focus. Join us same time next week, Monday.